Would you like to join us for dinner? A sweet little girl's question that melted a lonely CEO's heart on Christmas Eve. Aidan Cross had it all. A penthouse with a panoramic skyline view, a personal chef on standby, and stock in every Fortune 500 you could name. But as snow drifted gently outside his 41st floor window, the only sound in his apartment was the low hum of the heating system. It was Christmas Eve, and Aidan sat alone, staring into a glass of untouched wine. He could have been at a gala or jetting off to Aspen, but something inside him recoiled from the crowds, the lights, the forced cheer. He scrolled through his contacts, none worth calling. At 34 he was the poster child for modern success, but inside there was only emptiness. So he grabbed his coat and left. No destination, just the city, alive and pulsing outside, maybe holding something his money couldn't buy. The streets glistened with frost and festivity. Couples held hands, families bustled with shopping bags, and children laughed as they passed decorated windows. Aidan moved through it all like a ghost, unseen, unneeded. People snapped selfies near glowing reindeer statues. A choir sang carols on the corner of Mercer and Hill. Still he felt nothing. The city that once excited him now mocked him with its joy. He bought a coffee he didn't drink, fed coins into a charity bin without a thought, and paused only when he reached a small public park. There a little girl in a purple hat was taping a hand-drawn star to a bench. She looked up, smiled, and said, "Want to help me decorate?" Aidan blinked. The cold world warmed a little. Lily was barely 4, full of laughter and wisdom no one taught her. She talked fast, showed Aidan her crayon-covered ornaments, and asked why he looked sad in the eyes. Her mother, Mia, called from a bench nearby, watching with caution and warmth. Aidan crouched down, unsure why he was still here. Maybe it was Lily's directness, or the way she offered him a handmade paper heart like it was treasure. "It's for your tree," she said. "I don't have a tree," he replied. "That's okay," she beamed. "You can come see ours." And just like that, a stranger with 1,000 unread emails accepted an invitation that would change everything. Mia hesitated when Lily invited Aidan to dinner. But something about him, polished yet lost, softened her reserve. Their apartment was small, but it radiated warmth. Mismatched furniture, flickering candles, and laughter in every corner. Aidan, used to tasting menus and Michelin stars, now sat at a wooden table with chipped edges and a steaming pot of vegetable stew. It was the best meal he'd had in years. They spoke cautiously at first, then easily. Lily showed him ornaments she'd made. Mia shared stories of working double shifts at a clinic. Aidan talked about nothing because he didn't yet know how to talk about anything real. After dinner, Mia handed Aidan a mug of cocoa. Lily had insisted on extra marshmallows. As the three sat on the couch, an old movie playing in the background, Aidan found himself laughing, real laughter, the kind that comes from letting your guard down. Mia noticed. "When was the last time you had cocoa?" she asked. He stared into the mug. "I can't remember." That night, surrounded by soft blankets and handmade decorations, he remembered what it was like to feel safe, not because of locks or alarms, but because someone cared that he was there. Later, Aidan found himself alone on the small balcony, the city lights stretching endlessly below. Mia joined him. She didn't ask questions, just handed him a scarf. Eventually he spoke, about his parents who were always away, about building things so no one would leave, about losing friends to ambition and sleep to anxiety. "You're not the only one who's been broken," Mia said softly. Her voice wasn't pitying, it was strong. Aidan realized he'd been seen, and for the first time that didn't scare him. Back at his penthouse, Aidan's world felt colder. The silence was louder now, the vastness oppressive. He looked at the paper heart Lily gave him and set it on the mantel. It was crooked, it was perfect. He opened his fridge, closed it again. No appetite, no peace. That night he dreamed of stars, not the ones in the sky, but the crayon-drawn ones taped to benches in a snowy park. The next day he returned to the park. Lily wasn't there, but the bench was still decorated. He sat, unsure why, until he saw Mia walking home with grocery bags. "Back so soon," she teased. "Didn't get enough stew," he offered to carry the bags. Small kindness, his first in a while. Mia let him. Their kitchen light flickered. Aidan, who hadn't touched a screwdriver in years, offered to fix it. He stayed for coffee. Then again the next day, with pastries this time. Each visit chipped away at his walls. He brought books for Lily, helped Mia with errands. She never asked for anything, but always thanked him like he'd done something heroic. That humbled him. On a rainy evening, Mia shared her story. A young widow, a medical assistant who'd given up finishing nursing school to raise her daughter. Her voice didn't crack, but Aidan's heart did. "You gave up everything," he whispered. "No," she said. "I found everything in her." He looked at Lily, playing with a toy soldier. He understood, maybe for the first time, what love looked like when it asked for nothing. One chilly December morning, Aiden opened a storage closet in his penthouse he hadn't touched in years. Inside was a dusty old wooden box labeled in his mother's handwriting, "Christmas, Aiden." He sat on the floor, gently opening it like a time capsule. Inside were childhood ornaments, glitter-glued angels, faded macaroni stars, and a red felt stocking with his name sewn on crookedly. Each item stirred emotions he thought he'd buried forever. That afternoon, he walked the entire way to Mia's apartment, holding the box like a sacred relic. "I brought something," he said quietly, handing it over. Lily gasped with joy, carefully lifting each ornament. Mia's eyes glistened. Together they decorated the tree, one full of history, love, and rediscovery. For Aiden, it wasn't just about giving, it was about reclaiming a part of himself he'd long forgotten. As Christmas Eve approached, Aiden wanted to do something memorable, something Lily would never forget. That morning he drove hours out of the city to find the perfect tree. Not an artificial one like he used to have, but a real pine, fragrant, full, imperfect. When he showed up at Mia's doorstep, the tree strapped awkwardly to a borrowed truck, Lily squeezed and jumped into his arms. "You brought a forest," she laughed. Setting it up took hours, but no one minded. They hung popcorn garlands, paper snowflakes, and all the ornaments from the wooden box. Later, as snow fell gently outside, Mia poured warm cider, and they sat on the floor wrapped in blankets. "Why are you doing all this?" Mia finally asked. Aiden looked at her, sincerity in his voice. "Because when I'm here, I feel like I belong." And in that quiet snowfall, a promise was made, not with words but with presence. In the weeks after Christmas, Aiden's life continued to evolve, but this time with purpose. He quietly met with a financial advisor and made a bold decision. He sold his largest, most luxurious penthouse. The money he received was substantial, but this time he didn't invest it in stocks or real estate. Instead, he started a scholarship program dedicated to single mothers pursuing higher education, named it after Mia's late husband, whom he'd only heard about in passing. He never told Mia where the money came from. When he handed her the acceptance letter and full tuition grant, she was speechless. This means I can go back. I can finish," Aiden simply smiled. "I know." In that moment, the wealth he'd clung to for so long finally found a purpose that felt real. The holidays had ended, but Aiden kept coming back, not out of obligation but joy. He started showing up on Saturday mornings with fresh pancake mix and a new topping to try. Blueberries, chocolate chips, even whipped cream once. Lily dubbed them Pancake Saturdays. Movie nights became routine too, with Mia letting Lily pick the film, and Aiden inevitably falling asleep on the couch halfway through. He learned to play board games again, to lose gracefully, to laugh loudly. The first snowball fight in January ended with Aiden soaked and breathless, collapsing onto the ground next to Lily. "You're part of the team now," she giggled. He looked at Mia across the snow-covered yard and realized he wouldn't trade this life for anything. One quiet evening, Lily curled up beside Aiden on the couch, resting her head on his chest. "Did you have a mommy who sang to you at bedtime?" she asked with all the innocence in the world. Aiden hesitated. "No," he admitted. "She was always away or working." Lily nodded thoughtfully, then looked toward Mia. "Mommy can sing to you too." The simplicity of her offer caught him off guard. Later that night, as Lily drifted to sleep and Aiden lingered in the kitchen, Mia began humming softly. The song was an old lullaby, gentle, soothing, warm. Aiden closed his eyes, letting the melody settle into the cracks of his broken past. And for the first time in decades he cried, not from sadness, but from healing. It wasn't the song itself, it was the fact that someone had offered it without being asked. It was a Sunday night in early February when Lily looked up from her bedtime story and asked innocently, "Can Aiden sleep here tonight?" The question made both adults freeze for a moment. Mia looked at him, unsure, but Aiden simply smiled. "Only if it's okay with your mom." Mia hesitated, then nodded. "The guest room's yours." That night, Aiden slept under a handmade quilt in a room with pink curtains and a lamp shaped like a unicorn. It was cozy, quiet, unfamiliar, and perfect. For once, he wasn't surrounded by silence or city lights, but the soft sound of breathing in the apartment next door. It felt right. It felt like he had finally come home, not to a place, but to people. Spring arrived, and with it came new beginnings. Mia enrolled in nursing school. Aiden adjusted his work schedule to pick up Lily when needed, attend school plays, and even help with science fair projects. He no longer saw himself as a guest in their lives. He was invested, emotionally, spiritually, practically. Week by week, they became a unit. Family outings, grocery trips, lazy Sundays with board games, they were building something authentic. Aiden even began volunteering at a local community center, helping kids from underprivileged backgrounds with tech skills. It wasn't for publicity. It was because he finally understood what life was supposed to be about, not status, not accolades, but impact and love. Exactly 1 year after their first meeting, Aiden arrived at the apartment to find Lily waiting with a small envelope. Inside was another paper star, just like the one she gave him on that snowy park bench. "For your heart," she said again, repeating the words with the same earnestness. He knelt to her level, moved. "I've kept the first one. It's still on my shelf." Mia watched the exchange quietly, her hand over her heart. That night, as they gathered for Christmas dinner, this time in a home decorated with lights, laughter, and love, Aiden realized just how far he had come, and how much further he wanted to go as long as it was with them. Years passed, and people still spoke of Aiden Cross in business circles. But the legacy he was proudest of wasn't the companies he built, it was the life he created with Mia and Lily. Their home was never the biggest or the fanciest, but it was filled with warmth. Photos on the fridge, handmade cards, laughter in the hallways. Mia graduated and began working at a hospital. Lily grew into a bright, kind soul, with Aiden always in the audience cheering her on. During the holidays, neighbors would often point to their window, glowing with paper stars, and say, "That house, that's where the light is." Aiden had finally found what he never knew he was looking for, and he never let it go. Aiden's journey began with loneliness and success, but it led him to something far richer. Love, belonging, and a family forged not by blood but by choice. His story is a reminder that sometimes the most profound transformations begin with the smallest moments. A child's invitation, a quiet dinner, a paper star. If this story moved you, touched your heart, or made you believe in second chances, subscribe for more soul-stirring tales of connection, redemption, and the quiet beauty of everyday love. You never know, the next story might be yours.